Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us here today. Well, we're here today with the Singapore Tourism Board to hear a little bit about the Singapore Tourism Accelerator program, and they're going to be sharing more information. Us here at the UNWTO, we're always looking to partner with like-minded organizations, looking to help source new ideas and contribute to their development. Today, we're here with the Director of the Innovation, Education, and Investments Department, Natalia Bayona, who will provide some introductory remarks. This will be followed by Jonathan Goh from the Business Innovation Department at the Singapore Tourism Board, who will provide an overview of the Accelerator program. And we're lucky to have as well alongside him, Kirti Chandel, who's the Chief Product Officer at Woohoo. And she's a current participant of the Accelerator program. So before I hand the floor over to Natalia, as there are a large number of participants here today who are connecting both via the Zoom and via the live stream on YouTube. So we ask that you please save your questions and write them in the Q&A of the Zoom or in the chat of the YouTube link. So the presentations will take approximately half an hour in total, and then we will move to the Q&A session where I will read out the questions. We will do our best to answer all of the questions, and otherwise we will get back to you at a later time. So thank you very much. And Natalia, the floor is yours.
Adaya, thank you so much. My dear startups, it's my pleasure to be here with you today. As you know, innovation, digital transformation, investments and education are our key driver when we are talking about the tourism recovery. So yesterday, when we celebrated the International Women's Day, I was super delighted to talk and to show to the world that more than 28% of our UNWTO startup network is led by women. So as a woman, as an innovator, I'm here today to welcome you in this webinar where we will partner with Singapore, one of the strongest countries regarding innovation, and of course, one of the more serious countries when it comes to development, urban development, sustainability, and of course, smart destinations. When the Singapore Tourism Board came to us, we were super delighted since the beginning to open the doors and to strengthen this cooperation in order to add value to the whole list of startups that have been applying to our startup competitions. As you know, one amazing part of our job inside the UNWTO is to foster the global tourism innovation ecosystem. Partnering between public and private sector make us bigger, and of course, make us to strengthen the voice and to lead by example by joining efforts with other institutions that are leading this change. I'm really pleased to have youth here, young talented minds, because I feel old when I see our colleagues from Singapore that are leading the change and that are looking for the top innovators from all around the world to foster innovation in Singapore. As you know, Singapore is one of the biggest countries in Southeast Asia, where every single startup, every single innovator that comes from America, from Europe, of course, from Africa, when it comes to scaling up, Singapore is the hotspot, is the place where you can find a strong venture capital system or culture, a strong network of accelerators, a strong institutional framework in order to promote the tourism innovation ecosystem. So this is part of our programs, and this is part of our innovation strategy to add value to the entrepreneurs, to help them to scale up, and of course, to bring opportunities to each of us in order to make us bright as the UNWTO Startup Network and as the UNWTO Innovators Network. So I'm really pleased to have some of the startups from all around the world that have been applying to our startup competitions. And of course, I would like to give the floor back to Adaya and thank her because as part of the team, she has been leading this process, and I am super happy that today we are activating this MOU in order to help entrepreneurs to use tech for good. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalia. So now I will hand the floor over to Jonathan, who's going to let us know a little bit more about the accelerator, how it works, and the benefits for startups.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to wherever you are dialing in from. Greetings from Singapore. My name is Jonathan, and I'm joined by my assistant director, Jia Li, as well as Kirti, who will be speaking later. And welcome to the Singapore Tourism Accelerator. I'm actually dialing in from the co-working space that many of our startups are working in currently. And I'll share a bit more about our program today. So please allow me to share my screen. So just to welcome you to the Singapore Tourism Accelerator. We were a program that was designed by the Singapore Tourism Board to attract and groom startups from around the world with new technologies and innovation to be developed and piloted in Singapore's vibrant tourism sector. So we started in October 2019, and we had the privilege of having 8 companies come into Singapore in our very first cohort, and you'll find that photo on the left of the screen. Subsequently, we ran our second cohort, and unfortunately, due to the COVID pandemic, we had to pivot and our program went digital. Our program at the Singapore Tourism Accelerator is set up to solve long-standing issues in the tourism sector, as well as create new business opportunities and to push the boundaries and transform the tourism sector. Each cohort, we select about 10 to 12 companies to be accelerated in our program that is housed in Singapore Tourism Board. We do provide resources, including business support, and more importantly, connections to the many tourism partners in our tourism ecosystem in Singapore, and opportunities to pilot solutions with them as well. So today I'm speaking about our upcoming cohort 4, which will be beginning in May this year and ending in September. So we do have a strong interest from the tourism industry in Singapore. You'll find many renowned worldwide names such as Singapore Airlines and the Changi Airport as well as many global hospitality chains such as Conrad Singapore, the Ritz-Carlton, even the Shangri-La as well, and many attractions in Singapore that you might have heard of. Gardens by the Bay, you might have seen that on the recent movie Crazy Rich Asians, or even Sentosa, as well as Jewel in Singapore. So I'll speak a bit more about what our program is structured, how our program is structured. Firstly, we recruit solution providers or startups that address challenges that we see in the tourism sector in Singapore. So what we do is that we go out to all our tourism partners in the tourism ecosystem in Singapore and understand a bit more what the challenges are, what problems they're facing, and we consolidate these into a series of challenge statements. Subsequently, we do a call out for startups and solution providers such as yourself to apply to the program under a specified challenge statement that you might be able to address. And then we'll go into some shortlisting and interviews. And then finally, we would select our final cohort of about 10 to 12 companies. We'll kick off the program through a virtual session and just trying to explain a bit more about our program to all of you, and we will facilitate the relocation to Singapore. And this is something that we're doing for our program because we truly believe that it's much more facilitative and convenient to run the pilot in Singapore and to have discussions with tourism industry partners. In order to facilitate this relocation to Singapore for the period of the program, we do provide a one-time stipend of $4,000 per company, as well as many administrative support to help you land in Singapore. We move on into phase 3, where we go into the acceleration phase, where it's a 2-week intensive phase involving many mentorship sessions with renowned industry leaders, workshops, as well as sessions to understand Singapore's tourism landscape better. Companies that are on board the program will also attend pilot scoping sessions with their industry partner in order to scope out a suitable pilot that can be run in the period of 3 months. Finally, we move on into phase 4, where your company would pilot your solution with our industry partners. And the Singapore Tourism Board offers funding support of up to 70% of your qualifying project costs, as up to 25,000 Singapore dollars per company to test these solutions. The program would culminate in an external demo day where you would present your pilot and your solution to an audience involving all the industry partners that we have, many investors, as well as the senior management of Singapore Tourism Board. So you find more photos here. This is our beloved cohort 1 that was here in Singapore last year. And we ran many industry speed dating and networking sessions for them. They got to meet hotel chains, attractions, aviation, and got the opportunity to network and first kick off some conversations with them about commercial deals even. We also have many workshops and talks held by our various partners in the innovation sphere, as well as VCs as well in the space, and also interactions with senior management and other units in the Singapore Tourism Board. So before I speak further, maybe I could just invite my colleague from UNWTO to share a video a bit more on what kind of solutions and what kind of pilots that we run in the Singapore Tourism Accelerator. So I'll let you watch the video.
Hi, my name is Andre, and I'm the marketing manager at Platter.
And I'm Rupert, I'm the founder and CEO of Platter. Platter is an immersive storytelling platform that enables tourism operators to be able to create, manage and deploy 3D and augmented reality experiences with ease.
So the biggest win so far has been the opportunity to speak to a whole range of different tourism partners here in Singapore, which has been exciting to help us understand what are their opportunities and what are the pain points that they're hoping to solve and using the technology for.
So I guess as part of being part of this program, it's helped validate our business model. So obviously now we're working with a number of different partners to be able to get feedback and input on our product roadmap, and that's super valuable for us because we need to be able to create a really engaging product that's going to help sell through to the market.
So we've had the opportunity to speak to a range of different stakeholders in the tourism sector here, and STB has been an amazing brand to be able to give us the validation to go and have those conversations.
It's been really good work with the staff. They're really friendly and bubbly, and they've been helping us out where we need support. So we've had a good experience with the team.
Yep, and that was Platter. So we're super proud of all our companies, and especially Platter. Platter is an augmented reality company based in Australia, and they were with us in our first cohort of the Singapore Tourism Accelerator. So a bit more about their pilot project. They were working with the Ritz-Carlton Millenia Singapore. So the Ritz-Carlton came to us with this problem statement. So some of you may not know that the Ritz-Carlton Singapore is home to Southeast Asia's largest contemporary art collection. And many of their guests would love to view all of this artwork. And typically the Ritz-Carlton would have to get their staff to bring the guests on tours daily, which obviously involves a lot of man hours and resource. So Ritz-Carlton came up to us with this challenge. They want to automate this tour, but yet not compromise on the quality of the experience for the guests as well. So Platter was able to come up with a really beautiful augmented reality experience that not only helped to save a resource or cut down on man hours, but also enhance and elevate the experience for the guests as well. So this is the kind of solution and the kind of startup and pilot that we're trying to have in the Singapore Tourism Accelerator, and we look forward to more of such projects in the coming cohort 3. Let me just get back to my slides. So like I said, we are proud of all of our companies, as well as the ones in our current cohort 3. And these are just a snapshot of where some of them are from and the technology area and application area that they are applied to as well. If you are part of our program, you also have the opportunity to be covered by local and international media over print, online, and radio. And there's lots of opportunities to be had in Singapore. So finally, who should apply? We are looking for a travel and tourism. We're looking for technology startups in the travel and tourism industry. And we are looking for startups and technology solution providers that are able to solve one or more or drive one or more of these objectives. So obviously we're looking at sustainability goals of our tourism businesses. That's a huge focus area for us. That's something that we're trying to engender in the tourism sector in Singapore. We also want to look for solutions that can generate productivity gains and cost savings for tourism businesses. This is especially so in a period of budget cuts, in a pandemic. Our tourism businesses are not doing so well, and this would go a long way to improve the longevity of these companies. We also want to increase revenue for these tourism businesses, especially when tourism and travel resumes. And also to deepen insights on visitors so that our tourism companies can be agile and pivot their business to focus on key customer segments. Also, we want to streamline the core business functions of our tourism businesses. And if you have a solution that can help do this, we'd be delighted to be connected with you. And also, one new thing that we're looking at in the coming years as well is health and wellness tech, something that can improve the health and well-being of guests in the tourism sector. So your company should be a technology company. Our accelerator is a program that really wants to accelerate the technology transformation of the tourism sector in Singapore. We also look for a specific maturity of company. We're looking for a pre-scale ups. So if you currently have a product, something that has some traction in the market, we'd be keen to work with you as well. As for the business model, by being a corporate innovation program, we look for solutions that are B2B as well as B2B2C, so that you can pilot your solution with our very many travel and tourism businesses. If you have an ambition to expand into Southeast Asia, if you're keen to trade, wintry Europe, cold Europe for the sunny Singapore and Southeast Asia, we'd be keen to speak to you as well. And naturally, us being the Singapore Tourism Board, we're looking for solutions that want to enter the travel and hospitality and tourism sector in Singapore. So a bit more of an overview of the timeline. Currently, we are still in the recruitment stage, and there's just about a week or so left. So please do, if you are interested, submit your applications for this program as soon as possible. The deadline for applications will be next week on the 15th of March. And then we will go into a series of pitches and interviews and selection over the next 2 months before we facilitate relocation into Singapore. And we would be targeting to begin our program in Singapore in June this year. So please do log on to our website, sgtourismaccelerator.com. You'll be able to find a full list of challenge statements that you could apply your solutions to, as well as much more information about our program, and the registration form is there as well. So thank you very much, and I'll be happy to take more of your questions later on. But before we get to that, I'm very pleased to pass the time to Kirti, who is from Smart Beings or Woohoo. They are part of our beloved cohort 3 as part of the program right now, and she'll be sharing a bit more of her experience on the program, as well as her experience relocating to Singapore in a pandemic. So hopefully she'll be able to assuage all of your concerns of traveling into Singapore. So over to you, Kirti.
Thank you so much, Jonathan, and I'm delighted to be here today. So as Jonathan introduced, my name is Kirti Chandel, and we are a voice AI assistant so from a Silicon Valley-based company. And we build enterprise voice assistant and voice-enabled IoT products. So something you can say, a more creative way to say it is, we try to bring the Tony Starks of Jarvis to the world. So I'm here, I have actually prepared some of the, you can say, different sections to give you my amazing experience with Singapore Tourism Accelerator. So last year, we were actually started planning to expand into Asia. So obviously our first choice was Singapore, but however, we didn't have any presence in Singapore. So we actually tried to reach out to different customers, but without any connections, it's quite tough. So that is why when everyone told us to apply and join Singapore Tourism Accelerator program, and they actually told us that it would not only help us connect with the industry partner, but also will be providing us funding for the project. So other than that, I would like to share my experience with the pilot partners around here. So for the Singapore Tourism Accelerator program, along with the Revel Innovation, which coordinates this program, has been fascinating. It connected us with several tourism partners and the properties around here. Even though we started the program during the COVID time, but we were still able to secure 3 very prestigious pilots. So we are successfully engaging with the Ritz-Carlton Millennium Singapore and have started our pilot project for enhancing the guest experience, improve the operational efficiency and productivity, and generate the incremental revenue. So our Woohoo also have attracted the attention of major attraction in Singapore, as well as the major Singapore online retail services. And we are still in discussion with them. So one of the biggest advantage that we actually get with the Singapore Tourism Accelerator is that the understanding of the partners that we have is that they understand the initiative is collaborative, R&D in nature, and committed to jointly deliver a successful outcome. And Singapore Tourism Accelerator also provides us to network with the tech and tourism community to engage with the senior industry executive as well as the educational institute to support our development and enhance the enhancement of the product. So it helps you to provide all the different resources that you can actually hope for to understand the tourism and the hospitality industry. We also have engaged with the Republic Polytechnic, that is an educational institute, which helps us to support us in the implementation. So another one of the important experience that I would like to share with you guys would be for the reallocation. So reallocating into a completely different country can be a little difficult sometimes, but the Singapore Tourism Accelerator has made it really, really smooth. Although in the COVID time, it was, you can say it is a bit different, but they have helped us on every single step. They helped us on guiding on what all the documents that are required, what all forms that you need to fill, and they have been helping us on that as well. They also guide you on the relocation part, where you can stay. So any guidance that you look for, they have been helping us on every single step. And also, as a solo female traveler, I had my own doubts that how the adjustment in the new country or coming to a new country would be for me. But since I have been here out in Singapore, it feels really, really safe. And people are really, really nice and helpful, and it's always smiling. They always give you a warm welcome, so you can actually feel, you can say, back home, so you can connect very easily. One another touch point I would like to go for is what actually we have gained from the Singapore Tourism Board. So the list is pretty long, but some of the things that I would like to touch base is that you have to get to connect with the direct connection with the top management team in the industry partners, and you can actually get to understand the tourism and hospitality industry pretty closely, and you get the best support in the tourism and hospitality industry. Yeah, so that is from my side. That is my complete experience on the Tourism Accelerator.
Thank you, Kirti, and it was amazing to hear about your experience, and it sounds great. And thank you, Jonathan, for the very concise overview. And now we will open the floor for the question and answer, both in the YouTube channel and on the Zoom link. So we're getting questions both in the chat, but well, the first question, even I can answer this, is if this program includes applicants from Europe, and yes, it does. And there's a long
absolutely. Yeah, so just to share on that one, we've had many of our previous applicants from Europe as well. We've had people from the United Kingdom, from the Czech Republic, Belgium, to name a few. And yeah, definitely, we'd be more than happy to have our friends from Europe.
Great, thanks. And next we have a question. considering a specific startup with multiple revenue stream avenues through C2C and BC channels, and they meet all the criteria listed but haven't launched yet. So definitely pre-scaling and soon to launch, but they want to know if they'd still be fit for entry.
Yeah, I think we'd still be keen to hear a bit more about your solution. That being said, we do look for companies that have some market traction, have some experience as well. That's just for us to be confident that you guys will be able to run a pilot effectively. Many of our industry partners have fed back that they would like to work with slightly more mature companies, but obviously our various industry partners. We have 37 partners. They have various levels of risk appetite as well. So I think just feel free to apply, and we'd be keen to have a further chat.
All right, we have another question from South Africa. It's also a specific question that they specialize in employee wellness and leadership in reality, and they want to take their project digital. What do you think?
Yeah, I guess my first thought would be that, well, employee wellness, I think that's something that perhaps we haven't really thought of yet. What we are looking at is really the guest wellness. So if there is some cross application there, and if the solution that you provide can be applied to guests of a hospitality, of a hotel, for example, or of an attraction, I think that's something that we'll be interested in as well.
Okay, and now we have a specific question for Kirti. Do you plan on founding a subsidiary in Singapore?
Yes, I'm actually liking it, and the things and the support that we are getting is pretty much, you can say, great. So yes, we have actually incorporated the company in Singapore.
Oh, well, great. And another question for Jonathan: how can STB help tourism startups working in other countries?
Well, so we can help in many ways. I think the main thing is really if you have ambitions to expand into Southeast Asia, using Singapore as a stepping stone or as a gateway, I think we'd be more than happy to provide that first step into Southeast Asia. So to introduce you to industry leaders in the tourism sector in Singapore, that would be a very effective first step in. I think many of our alumni companies have cited that as one of the main reasons why they've applied for the program. They obviously have a huge network and traction in their home countries, in Europe, in the United States, and they want to penetrate the Southeast Asian market. Singapore is a great place to land in, with many with many companies that also have other sites and other properties in the region as well. So I think that's one of the big values that we can provide. The second main value that we can provide to startups in other countries as well is that if perhaps you are in a different vertical, if let's say your technology is something that's more suited to the medical field or even engineering, and if there are applications to tourism and technology, and if that hasn't been piloted or tested before, the Singapore Tourism Accelerator is a great testing ground to see how your solutions can be applied to tourism. Yeah, so I think that's something that we can be of value to as well.
Thanks, Jonathan. No, and just to add that sometimes it's not taken into consideration by all startups from all walks of life, the transversal nature of tourism and how it applies almost to virtually every other economic subsector. So sometimes maybe if it's not the first part of your program, it is still related to tourism. So we encourage you to apply. And here is a technical question. Is there a format for the pitch in terms of minute limitations, for example?
Yeah, so I think one thing that I didn't mention was that our program is run in partnership with our our corporate innovation partner, Revel Innovation. You might find their logo on the poster. So we partner with them to run this program, and they handle much of the administration and recruitment of startups for the program. So if you apply to our program, you will be able to, and if you are shortlisted, then more details will be given on the pitch. Although just to quickly answer the question, it's a 7-minute pitch and with time for Q&A as well.
Great, thanks. And now back to Kirti. How did Smart Beings plan the cultural fit of the product, and how about the coordination of STB?
So the cultural fit, so we as a company are multicultural. So we have people working from India, we have people working from US, so it's multicultural. So cultural fit was fine. According to, you can say, it was not that difficult, and we were actually exploring to set up in Singapore. And the kind of support that we got from STB was on all different levels. They try, so the part of the program itself is that they try to train you on every single aspect, from founder, so like from, you can say, on a founder aspect, how things to be done, how you need to pitch, and everything that they train. So that is there as a part of the program, and it's pretty great.
Thank you. And here we have another sort of specific question that they basically want a little bit of clarity on the link with critical development players together with a concept owner, or if it's just more directed at purely established products moving from early phase to scaling. If you can provide a little bit more insight on this.
Yeah, I think we are looking for more developed players. I think for concept owners, or something, if there is a minimal viable product, if there's an MVP, I think that's a start. But I think we definitely look at tested solutions as well. Us being the Singapore Tourism Board, we obviously do care about our tourism sector players. We want to, and our promise to them is to deliver quality solutions. So quality can be in terms of being innovative, but I think we want to have the assurance to them that these are tested and ready to go to market as well. So I think to answer that question, we do look for slightly more established players than concept owners.
Okay, great, thanks. And then here, I can just remind everyone that the deadline to apply is the 15th of March. And the information is available at our website. It's on the Twitter. We'll leave the website address in the chat as well for all of you. And now they have questions on relocation assistance on behalf of STB.
Yeah, so the relocation would be at your company's own expense. But that being said, we do provide some funding support in terms of a one-time relocation stipend of 4,000 Singapore dollars. So that hopefully would cover about 1 month of rent, as well as some of the living expenses. We also do allow the costs for the quarantine period if it's required, as well as any COVID tests that are required, as well as travel insurance to be covered under the cost of the grant, which is meant to cover the cost of the pilot project as well. So all of these costs for the quarantine, the COVID tests, as well as travel insurance, these can be covered by the grant there's of up to $25,000 that is there for the pilot project. So that's the support that we provide.
Well, it sounds ideal. So right now, I don't see any more questions. I don't think we have any on the Q&A. Oh, there is a question. How many winners will there be? I think that means how many companies are you willing to accept?
Yeah. So we typically recruit about 10 to 12 companies per cohort. In our first cohort, we had 8. In the second one, we had 8. In our third one, we have 9 at the moment. And we always be happy to have more than that. If you find on our website, we have about 24 challenge statements, if I recall correctly. And we'd be happy to recruit one for every single one of those challenge statements if we are able to find quality solutions for each of those. So feel free to go to our website, again, SG Tourism Accelerator, and find the full list of challenge statements, and you'll be able to find which one suits your solution the most.
Okay, perfect. So we have one more question. If just one project will receive the pilot project opportunity?
Sorry, could you repeat that question?
If only one project will receive the pilot project opportunity.
I'm guessing that.
No.
Yeah,
go
I'm
ahead.
guessing that. Yeah, I'm guessing that means if you apply to multiple challenge statements, will you only be picked for one? That's a good question. I don't think that's something that the team has discussed yet. Although I think it would be at the selection panel's discretion as to see how comfortable we would be to letting one startup work on multiple challenge statements. If we have assurance on the quality and the track record of the company to be able to handle two separate challenge statements with two different industry partners. I think that's something we'd be keen to explore, but just to caveat, that may not be the wisest use of resources. It might be really challenging to scope out one pilot, let alone two. So I would caution on that as well.
No. Well, that makes sense. And another specific question: have you ever had a Korean startup participate?
No, unfortunately, we haven't had a Korean startup, but we've been keen to have more startups from around the world participate. We've actually been in contact with the Korean Startup Center in Singapore, who is our liaison and our partner with Korean Startup to us to help connect us with really good quality Korean startups. Unfortunately, there hasn't been much interest. We haven't received many applications from Korean startups, and so please do apply if you are from South Korea. Yeah, we'd be keen to have startups from around the world. So just to share, our program was actually set up out of the context of the Tourism Innovation Challenge. So Tourism Innovation Challenge is a program that was run by the Singapore Tourism Board as well for many years, bringing Singapore's best technology solutions to power the tourism sector in Singapore. And I think there was a comment that we've been seeing many of the same players. Singapore's a small country. We've been seeing the same players over and over again. And we wanted to broaden our horizons. We wanted to look beyond the borders of Singapore to find the best technology solutions from around the world to be piloted in Singapore to power the travel and tourism sector in Singapore. And that's why we set up this Accelerator program to look beyond Singapore. So Korea, Europe, the world, we'd be keen to have you.
Great, thank you. So yes, for anyone tuning in now, the deadline is the 15th of March, and they welcome applications from all over the world. And another question from Francesco, as it starts in June, how long is the program, the full duration?
Yeah, so the full duration of the program would be about 3.5 months physically in Singapore. So 3 months of the program will be piloting the solution from July to September, and about 2 weeks in June for the acceleration phase. That being said, we will recruit or finalize our selection of the startups sometime in May. So we would have a virtual session sometime in May as well. And so if you include that, then maybe that's about 4 months as well. But the official duration of the program will be 3.5 months in Singapore.
So 3.5 months, great. And this is a two-part question. Would the startups work internally to come together to make cross-functional products? And if so, would STB take a step in this? And would that help make it a more valuable product in the market?
Yes, that's a really interesting thought. In fact, we've actually had something like that happen in our current third cohort. There have been discussions for startups to come together to produce a product that has multiple functions. That project is still in discussion, and we haven't gone through with that. But we kind of see that as a side thing. We want to pilot solutions, so individual solutions we want to reach as many of our industry partners as possible. So that would be the main aim of the accelerator. But obviously, working together, in the same co-working space with many bright and talented individuals in the technology sphere, there's bound to be the sharing of ideas and bouncing of ideas together. So yeah, we'd be very pleased if startups come together to have a cross-functional solution. I think that'd be amazing.
All right, and one more question. Can an existing company apply? What if two partners are working together on the project? Can both be a part of it?
not entirely sure what this question is asking. An existing company, I would assume, yeah, any company, technology company, pre-scale up is invited to apply. If it's two parties that have not formed a company and are looking to have a solution, have a MVP to work together, I would say that that's slightly too early stage for us. We do look for companies that have some market traction, have some experience, not necessarily in the tourism and travel sector, but at least with some applications and some experience. I think we'd be looking for something like that. Adaya, I think we do have some questions in the chat as well. I'm not sure if you managed this.
I think I've gone through those, but feel free to shoot them out if you see one that I may have missed by any chance.
Sure. Yeah.
And in the meantime, just note that I've put the link to the website in the chat feature here. We will be listing it in the YouTube channel as well, because this session will be available on the UNWTO Academy's YouTube channel for everyone to see later on, and we'll put the correct links. And if you have any more questions that have not come up right now, feel free to reach out via UNWTO Academy's Twitter account, and we will be answering them there as well throughout the day or whenever necessary.
Okay, thanks, Adaya. I see a question from Francesco. He's got two questions. The first one is about relocation to Singapore. So the relocation to Singapore, I guess, is really for companies that aren't based in Singapore. And obviously, we are still in a pandemic, and it's not so easy to travel. Well, especially the borders in Singapore aren't very straightforward. So what relocation looks like for the program, the Singapore Tourism Board will facilitate the application as well as approvals for entry into Singapore via the relevant travel lanes that are available at the moment. I can't make any promises for what will happen in June, but as of today, yeah, we do have travel schemes open for entrepreneurs working on projects in Singapore. Yeah, I guess other details about the relocation as well is that we'd also provide guidance on how to fill out all of these forms, as Kirti has mentioned, entrepreneurship work passes, yeah, the quarantine period, COVID tests. We provide guidance on all of these as well. To be clear, we do not provide funding support for accommodation or living expenses. That would purely be covered by the one-time relocation stipend of 4,000 Singapore dollars, as well as any costs related to quarantine, COVID tests, and travel insurance that will be covered or qualified by the grant for the pilot. There's a second question, which is basically considering with the suitability of the company. So I guess Francesco's company has launched through multiple revenue streams through a C2C and B2C channels, as well as all the other criteria have listed, but hasn't launched yet. So definitely pre-scale and soon to launch. And also with the ability to launch in any city in the world at moments to notice. So would we be fit for entry? So just to reiterate, the kind of business models that we're looking for is a B2B solutions, because we are a corporate innovation program. We're looking for pilot partners for our industry partners. So that's the main one that we're looking for. If the product hasn't been launched, but if there is some experience in terms of other pilots as well with other industry partners, then yeah, we'd be keen for you to apply, and that would be possible as well. Another question from Francesco, can traction come in the form of pre-registrations? Yes, definitely. I think if you can show us what learnings that have been had, with other industry partners, whether that's in the form of validation from them through working on pilots together, yeah, that would be relevant to mention as well in the application. Oh, we've got a new question on the Q&A as well. So will STB invest in startups who don't want to relocate or want to launch their products in their own region? Unfortunately, no. So the Singapore Tourism Board, our mandate really is to develop the tourism sector in Singapore, not necessarily travel and tourism startups around the world. So that's not our primary mandate. Although we would love to invest in you in the sense that we'd love you to come into Singapore and to pilot your solutions here. To be clear, the Singapore Tourism Board doesn't take any equity for participating companies. We just provide the platform and the network to pilot your solutions in Singapore.
So I think that is all the questions for now. I'm going to take another quick look at the YouTube page, and no, I think we're all set. So again, well, thank you all participants. Thank you, Kirti. Thank you, Jonathan, for sharing this. And again, we encourage you to follow UNWTO Academy and raise any questions that you may have there. We will post all of the links again. We also actually encourage you to join our events at ITB this week. We have an event on the Plastics Initiative and today, and on Women in Tourism tomorrow, to hear some inspiring stories on tourism entrepreneurs. And we're available to answer any questions, and we really appreciate you taking the time to join. And we strongly encourage you to apply for the STB Tourism Accelerator, and the deadline is the 15th of March again, so please don't miss the deadline. Oh, and we have one last question. Well, but I think we've already covered it because the solution doesn't have to be only for Singapore. But Jonathan.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't. That's fine. The solution doesn't have to be solely for Singapore, but obviously we want solutions that. Our program is for you to pilot your solution in Singapore. So that if that's of interest to you, please do apply.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone, and have a great day, evening, night, wherever it is that you may be watching from. And we look forward to hearing from you again soon.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Adaya. And thank you so much, the team from UNWTO. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Looking forward to your applications.
Ya está, perdón.